Hola guys, and welcome to the edible fabric and silk class. Now I'm super excited to be teaching you guys this class because I've been going through so many trials and tribulations with these recipes, and I finally got it down so where we can have a happy medium and everyone can try this out for themselves. So here we have wafer paper. Now it is a bit stretchy. This is more like a leather texture. So it is very pliable, very durable, but it will break. This has been out for about a couple, I would say 2 days. So I did make it. This is one of the recipes, and this is a different recipe which I love. Look at this. Yes. And now I will also be showing you how to make these awesome polka dots within there. So this is more the silk recipe, and these are more the fabric recipe. And you can use your edible lace or your lace mats if you have lace mats. The only thing is this, it's a little more tedious and it will take a little more time, but it can be done. So what I love about this stuff is that there's a couple different happy mediums. So you got to figure out what works for you because there's not just one right way to do it. There's a couple. Now, because this is home-based and it's all edible and you're making it at home, we do not have the chemicals that they put in for the ones they do sell in the stores. So it is going to be quite a bit different, but it still can be used the same way. I will go over how to store it as well, but let's go ahead and get started on the recipes. So what you will need for the recipe is gelatin. Now you can buy a big pack of gelatin packets in the store for $10 for 32 packets. You can buy the big jar, and this would be about a tablespoon and a half per packet. I will have the ratio below. Glucose, you can order glucose, or you can get this at any of your cake decorating supply stores. Now, remember, I will have everything in the description box below. Warm water. I just took this out of the microwave. It's pretty warm. I like warm water so that the gelatin dissolves fast. If you do not have glucose, you can use light corn syrup in its place. Just know it won't be as pliable and it probably will dry out a little faster. I've used it. It works great, but it's completely up to you what you have and how you want to experiment with stuff. And also glycerin. If you have glycerin, you can substitute it with glycerin as well. Glycerin is essentially like corn syrup. I mean, completely up to you what you want to use. So those are the basic ingredients you will need. So what you want to start off by doing is getting 2 tablespoons of warm water into wherever you're going to start making it. And a little goes a long way. You can do 4 tablespoons to 2 packets. It's completely up to you. So 2 tablespoons of water to 1 packet. You'll put the packet in there and then you'll let it set. Okay, we'll mix both of them. Let it set for about 10 to 15 minutes. You want it to set for that long because you want it to congeal and you want it to come and be very, very gummy bear like, you know, like gelatin. So just mix it. It's okay if you got clumps or lumps or whatever's in there because it will dissipate as soon as we heat it back up. So we'll leave that off to the side for 10-15 minutes. Now here's one that's been sitting. If it sits for longer and you totally forgot about it, it's okay. Nothing will happen to it. Unless, you know, just put saran wrap around it. If you're going to make a couple batches of these, you can make more. You don't have to make this little bit. But just to keep you in mind, this will go a long way. Now, you see how gelatinous this is? Perfect. All right. So what you want is that nice congealed, that's a tongue twister, gelatinous. Now you can also store this. So if you're not going to use it for that day, you just wanted to make it, you can store it, take it out of there and store it. Put it in a bag and put it in the fridge. Completely up to you. I mean, super fun to make. It's super inexpensive to make. So once you make your mixture, you let it set, let it get hard like this. You see I'm pushing through it. Make sure it's really nice, hard, and firm. And follow the recipe, please. Now, we're going to put this in the microwave for about 10 seconds. You're going to have to watch it because it will bubble up and it will overflow, and then you're going to have gelatinous bubbliness all over your microwave. So it doesn't take that long for it to liquefy and come back down. So make sure you check it every 10 seconds if you have a big batch. See, that was about 10 seconds. Nice and gelatinous. Now it does have a clear effect with a little bit of a yellow tint, and that's because of the gelatin. But you can work with that. It'll still come out clear on any project that you're working on. So let's say you want to do a clear window, or you're working with sunglasses, fondant sunglasses. You would just pour that in there instead of using isomalt or candy hard sugar because you don't want to burn your hands. You can use this instead. Right here, this mixture. Now we're going to make it edible fabric / silk. Now how do we do that? Well, the smell is not that great and the taste is not that great. So you're just going to add at least about 1/4 of a teaspoon or 1/2 of a teaspoon, whatever you want to do. But 1/4 should work just fine. Mix it in. And then we'll do about 1 teaspoon of glucose. Now, I found that the glucose really lets it be firm, and you get that stretchiness with the glucose. You can use the mixture as just the gelatin and water. You can do that, but I feel like you won't get the firmness that you really want. Now, just like with the other products on the market, you're going to get an awesome product in the beginning, but just keep in mind you have to store this properly. You can put it in a sandwich bag, or just make sure it's an airtight container. A sandwich bag works great. You can also store it in the fridge. You can also make molds out of it. I mean, the possibilities are endless. But today I am showing you how to make some awesome edible fabric. So first of all, you can use wafer paper, and I do have some wafer paper, or you can use edible icing images. And if you're familiar with icing images, Wilton sells a brand of icing images, but it tends to crack a lot, and I don't like using it because it does crack. Well, I'm going to show you how you can get this bow from this. Yeah, I know. This bow actually bending from this. All right, let's get some edible paper first. So first we're going to start off with some wafer paper. Now, depending on how big you want it, or if you're working with the full sheet and you want the full sheet to cover whatever you're working with. Now, stay tuned for the end of the video where I will give you examples of how to use the edible paper. Okay, so I'm going to use about 1/2 of this, like that. Now, you will need a brush. If you're using this kind of brush, just know that you probably will get brush strokes like this. I prefer these brushes as they are more, they give you more of an equal amount of the stuff that's in there to go on there. Now, you do have to work fast when working with the wafer paper because you're going to get bubbles. But if you get bubbles, it's totally okay. You're just next time, try to work faster. Okay, all I'm doing is painting it on there like so. And then you're going to flip it. I know I'm going to get a bubble already because I left it too long. You got to be quick. You got to be quicker than that. And we're going to leave this for about 10 to 15 minutes. You're going to do that with this one as well. So make sure you got enough on the wafer paper so that it's fully covered. If you get bubbles, it's okay. You're trying it out at first. And you can always do it with wafer paper that's been printed on. So don't forget you can do that with any wafer paper that's been printed on. So if the wafer paper has a design, you will make that design an edible fabric or silk. Just keep that in mind. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to turn this into a color. So if you're looking for an opaque color, you would start off with base white. Now this is an icing color from Wilton. It works perfectly with this solution. So you would paint that white, and I've got some already white. Now this has dried up. I'm just gonna re-pop it back in the microwave and let it come back down to liquid form. What's awesome about this is when you're done playing with it, you can let it set. I saran wrap it, set, or top it with the top you have. Let it set and then bring it back to liquid form. Now if you do overheat it or you've heated it more than once, sometimes it will not come back to liquid, only depending on the chemicals and how they react. I need to put some more in here. So I'm going to put some more gelatin. So this is clear gelatin. All I did was add some white to this one right here. Now, because you get so much out of a little bit of mixture, you can figure out what you want to use it on. It's completely up to you. I'm going to heat this up a little bit more. You can color the whole mixture, or you can decide to break it up. There we go. You can decide to break it up and do different colors. Completely up to you. So what you want to do is put it on the mat. The important thing here is using a silicone mat. If you use a silicone mat, it's going to be your best bet because the silicone acts like a repellent. So when you pull it off, it's easier. Now, my opinion is on making the silk, this would be the silk part, is letting it set thicker than the paper. I feel it being a thickness is more pliable and more sturdier, and you can stretch it more like this. So this is rice paper and this is the silk. We let this sit and we let this sit, wait about 10-15 minutes, and we're going to check on them. So a good indicator of when it's ready is when you tap it and it doesn't lift up. So this lifted up. So this is obviously not ready. Same goes for here. This one's still lifting up a little bit. So you can see a little bit lifting up. So these are still not ready, and we're still going to let them sit. Now keep in mind you could do bigger pieces of rice paper, and you could do a bigger piece of the silk. It's completely up to you. Let's let them sit a little longer. If you get impatient like me, go ahead and fan them. I get impatient just like you guys because I love working on projects and I want to see them get done. But again, this does take time and you don't want to rush too much. So it's a little tacky, but I still didn't get anything on my finger, nothing lifted up. So these seem to be ready. This one, still not ready. If you have a fan, you could blow a fan, but you run the risk of it drying out if you are blowing a fan in its direction. So what you want to do next is grab a brush, a nice brush like this. This is from Elf. I believe it cost me like $2. Got some cornstarch. And then I'm literally just going to put it on top so it's not sticky anymore. Now, you don't have to use cornstarch. You can use Pearl Shine. or whatever other shine you have. Here's a blue curl shine. This one's brand new, so I have not opened it. So as long as it's a powder, you can use it on there. I've tried the glitter, the disco dust. I've tried the sprinkles, and it works to a certain extent, but then it gets really messy because there's no dryness to the ingredient. So it's completely up to you. Experiment. The whole point is to have fun with it. Now, I would recommend getting a different brush so you don't transmit cornstarch and then blue all over your canvases. So let's go ahead and bring this up slowly. It's kind of like latex in a way. And then you're going to do the same to the other side. Not with cornstarch, because this one didn't have cornstarch on the other side. And there's that one. Now, you don't have to luster dust both sides if you don't want to. Now, there's that bubble that came. It will stick to your fingers, so be very, very careful. If you want, dip your fingers in the luster dust or the cornstarch before starting this project, because you will have a hard time like me. All right. Now you can do this with any color that you want. Like I said, if you want it clear, just keep it clear. You can color it white or any other color you want to color. But look at that. Now I would immediately let this sit in a sandwich bag or a plastic bag, something where the air won't touch it too much. I wouldn't necessarily stretch it too much at this stage as it is curing still. So definitely put this away as soon as you're done putting their powders on. So you would get a sandwich bag and put that in there. And let it set. Save it for when you're going to need it. Put that away. Now, you don't have wafer paper, no problem. A little tacky, but it's set. So, I'm going to get some cornstarch. Might get a little blue on there, but that's okay. Put it on top. Peel it. And then you got your beautiful silk. Now, in my opinion, this way lasts longer than using the wafer paper way. But the wafer paper way is intended for something that has print on there, or you're going to use print. So just keep that in mind. Look at that. Yes. So really cool, awesome way to do it. Now I will have 3 different recipes below, and you use what works for you. They're all going to be the same method. You mix the gelatin water together, let it congeal, then heat it up, then add everything afterwards. So the method is the same. Let me show you how we work with this on some lace mats. So here we have our lace mat, and then we have our gelatin. Remember, you can color this gelatin. So if you want this gelatin to be an opaque color, add some white. If you want it to be a clear color, do not add white. Now, I'm not going to add white. I want it to be some sort of a clear, cool color so I can get the awesome gelatin to be like a see-through thing. So we just mix it. and we get a cool, clear purple. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You can mix it in the batch when you're mixing the glucose or the light corn syrup in there. The more you mix, the more bubbles you're going to get. Tap the bubbles out. Remember, bubbles will be a little harder to work with, but you'll get the hang of it. Okay, so now all you want to do is pour it on there, like so. And then you're going to get your spatula or whatever you're working with, and you have to work fast because this has gelatin in there and it will harden up fast. If you feel like it's not working for you, you can always try it again. This method is super inexpensive and super easy to make. A little goes a long, long way. So I feel it firming up already. So I'm going to give it one more stroke. And there you go. Now, if it's not quite what you want, go ahead and practice it until you get what you want. But it works on lace mats too. Now, the thing with this is that you're going to let it have to set for at least an hour to cure. You don't have to bake it. You don't have to do anything. You're just going to set it and basically forget it. And we're going to leave that off to the side. So I give it about half an hour to an hour. Keep on checking it. And yes, you have to peel away very, very carefully as you would with lace. Now, let's put this away. We have some more gelatin right here. So the cool thing about this is that you can cut it to whatever you want. You can make a bow out of it if you want. You can do whatever you want. The most common thing with this, the silk, is using it as drape. The best adhesive, if you're making a bow or any of that sort, is chocolate, melted chocolate. That's the best adhesive. But water sometimes works. Edible glue also works. So if you were working with this and it was just the gelatin base with no glucose, you would kind of get this, but it would be more gelatinous and not as silky. So you would stick it with melted chocolate and you would always get that awesome jiggle. I highly suggest you don't put this on the cake till day of or the day before. Put it in the fridge. If you're using the rice paper will dry out because you're using rice paper with jello or gelatinous ingredients. So just keep that in mind. So what I did earlier is pour out a big puddle of this. I found out that the thicker the better and it lasts longer without rice paper. And you can do that, I mean, with clear, with any color. Remember, you can make any color that you want. And all I did was, cut out pieces that I needed. Yes, you can cut out shapes, sizes, whatever you need. Like that. So treat it like fondant to a certain extent, but it's definitely not fondant. So the awesome thing that I did was made a piece, cut out a bunch of circles, and I'm going to make a polka dot silkiness edible fabric. So I'm literally just going and make sure your bottom underneath, whatever you're working on, doesn't have any stains from anything because it will pick up that residue. So all I'm doing is a pattern. And these are literally stretchy. as you see. And I'm just making a pattern. You could drape this over a doll cake, and it could literally be a fabric dress. You can drape this over apples. You can drape it over everything. Like I said, the taste is not that great. You can add powdered sugar to the mixture to make it taste a little different. Completely up to you. You're supposed to have fun with this, so yes, get carried away and have fun with it. And I'm going to continue to do this till it's finished. Alright, I finished setting up all my circles into a pattern that I wanted. And I'm going to get my mixture, and I'm going to color it white. I'm putting 5 drops in there. 6 to be on the safe side. Mix it all up. Now, because it does have a little bit of a yellow tint, keep in mind you might have to put more coloring. I mean, that's completely up to you what you want to do. I'm going to put about 2 more. Remember, you're adding liquid, so it might change the outcome of your mixture. So now what I want to do is I want to pour it over this. And because this is silicone, the mixture, the already made mixture, should attach to the silicone and not move while you're pouring this over it. If it does, you can move it. Just go slow and around. I saw one move. But you should be okay. Just keep in mind, it may move. And it could be because this was liquefied a little bit more. You do want to get a spatula or something to help you move the mixture towards the other dots. And again, if the dots start moving, it's okay. You can also do dots without cutting them out like that by grabbing some mixture and plopping it on the mat like that and letting it dry in place. So you would make a pattern of dots with your mixture like so. Let it dry and then put your mixture over that so you can make sure that these don't move on you. You can also, there's so many ways, you can also go like this and get the dots and put it over your mixture. Completely up to you. I think both ways is cool. I mean, you'll get 2 of the dots, 2 sides of the fabric dotted. It's completely up to you. They don't usually move on me, but I did add extra water to this mixture. It's pretty therapeutic putting the dots on here, to be honest. And you have to work fast as you don't want it to gum up on you. Now, depending on what you're using it for, and remember you guys, in my videos I always show you what to do, and I'll show you my mistakes so you don't do them as well. Bonus, you get to see my mistakes. Alright, so you can do this version or the other version, completely up to you, or make your own dots. It's pretty fun. So decide what you want to do. We're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to put a fan in here. We're going to let that dry. I'm going to show you how it comes up. Alright, so it looks like it's setting up. Touched it, none on my finger, none lifted up. I'm going to put a little bit of cornstarch down. Here's my handy dandy brush. And we're going to cornstarch this until there's no sticky parts. Now, I would still let it sit 10 to 15 minutes just to ensure that the bottom is 100% cured as well. Now, for video and class purposes, I'm pulling it up a little sooner just so y'all see. Now, you see how it's still sticking to the mat? It's not done, and it broke easily. Now, that's why you do want to wait and not be impatient. So, I will just wait. I show you guys my mistakes so you don't do the same. Let's wait a little longer. All right, let's start peeling it slow and steady. That looks awesome. Now remember, the dots did move. This side will stick to itself, so if you let it fold up on itself, it will stick together. Now you can pick and choose which side you want to work with, as all you have to do is dust it with a little bit of cornstarch. And the cornstarch just comes off as soon as you wipe your hand on it, like so. And you can do a base and then, you know, stick it with edible glue. But look at that. Yes! Fabulous. Fabulous. All right, so we're going to let that sit. Remember, let it cure. At least half an hour to an hour. Let that sit in a Ziploc bag or somewhere where the air won't be too harsh to it. We'll put that one aside. And now we got some more. Now I'm just going to pour some clear on here. Remember, silicone mat works best. Now, you can, you know, do a mold. If you have a mold and you're putting it in there and you want it to be a certain thing, you can do that as well. You can put it in a mold as well. Completely up to you how you want to do it. Now, I got my icing sheet here. These you can buy at any grocery store. They sell party icing sheets. And cut yourself a piece out like that. Get you a brush. The shiny part is going to go down first, okay? And put that on there. Put it down, just like